Shemel Shai. Yahweh Shemel Shai. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh.
But as it is written, eye have not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
John chapter 14. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also.
So at the right hand of the Lord, there are pleasures forevermore. So we can look at the earth today, and there are still, even though this devil has destroyed and ruined the earth and polluted the world, polluted the air, polluted the waters, polluted the food and the people and everything, and the earth itself, there are still places on earth that are so breathtaking and so beautiful, even though it's still tainted, but it's just so beautiful to look at. You know, being there can probably take off, you know, or bring you back 5-10 years, make you 5 or 10 years younger, 15-20 years younger, just by the presence, the aura of that place. So just imagine how much greater the kingdom is going to be when the Most High has on his right hand there are pleasures forevermore. You know, imagine how much greater, how much more beautiful the kingdom of heaven is going to be once it's established. You know, and these are things that we have to keep in mind, because this is what we're fighting for.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scripture through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right. And what I want to get into various topics, you know, as always, you know, a lot going on, you know, whether in privacy, whether in Israel, you know, whether it's, you know, character building, it's always a lot going on, you know, in this truth, you know, and there's one thing about maturing in this truth, you know, we should have plenty, you know, to be occupied with, you know, serious matters, okay, to be occupied with, you know, and as things unfold, you know, there has to be spiritual adults, okay, in the room, okay, because it's so easy to get distracted by, you know, the soap opera and the gossip, and, you know, that's easy to be distracted by. All right, well, there has to be men that has to look at everything through spiritual lens, okay, and all the things that we see going on. You know, one thing that we can all say, if we're being honest, okay, is the apostles and elders, you know, have been, you know, since YouTube, okay, even though they was teaching way before YouTube, all right, but since YouTube 2007, that's way before, you know, I came in, but uh, just hearing the reports, all right, and having access, you know, to old videos, okay. One thing that everyone has to be honest and say is that those men have been consistent in the spirit. You know, there's one thing that cannot be said about those men, that they haven't been consistent in the spirit. They've been consistently teaching. The doctrine has been the same. Okay. Certain understandings have been enhanced, all right, but it's the same base, okay, doctrine, all right. And what has happened, the Lord, you know, let's say, because when you build on something, you got to have a solid foundation, okay, and that foundation is Yahweh Shai, all right, and our apostles and elders, you know, they've built on their foundation and been consistent in their building, and now you have a solid foundation, okay, in Yahweh Shai. Okay, and you see everything outside of that foundation is a complete mess, man. It's a goddamn mess. Okay, I want to get some precepts. You know, let's say it's open forum, so you roll in the spirit. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11. Okay, in verse 1, it says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it," verse 2, "for by it the elders obtain a good report." Okay, and you look at our forefathers from the scriptures on down to the apostles and elders of today, you know, and you see that through their faith, you know, constantly teaching, man. Okay, not selling out. It takes faith not to sell out. Okay, the influence that those men had, you don't think Esau, okay, wants those men to sell out, but no, through faith. Okay, they never, you know, they never tried to be celebrities. You know how much we benefit off that because of the faith of those men, the humility of those men through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Okay, and we're coming into a time where we're going to appreciate serious-minded, sound teaching, sound doctrine, man. That was never about the gimmicks, and they never made it about them. Okay, they showed us what it meant to be dead to this world. Okay. They live everything they've been teaching. All right. They dealt with the simplicity in Yahweh Shai. Okay. They pushed us to be scholarly. They pushed us, you know, to be you know, tedious when it comes to the doctrine. You know, they taught us to be diligent, to be consistent, to be punctual. Okay. So when you go into our apostles and elders through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, you know, these men have been great examples of how we should be. Okay. And every brother got their own lot, you know, their own portion. Okay. But as far as the standard, you know, they set a standard. You know, they've been great examples of how we should move in this thing, man. Staying out the way, man. You know, you see the shit show that these niggas got going on, man. Okay, the lewdness, the sexual immorality, the false doctrine, and this and that. It just nigga culture with fringes on at this point. And these niggas done took you all the way back to the Christian church. They took you back to square one. Okay, they took you down Crip Lane, Peg Lane. Okay, now they're dropping you back off at the Christian church. All right, they took you on an adventure. They're children. You see, there's thousands of Israelites that just following children because it's cute, it's popular, it's world friendly. You see? And the Lord just showing that there's a major difference between his sheep and everyone else, man. You know, and the Lord is making it plain, more plain, man. You know, I'm fully persuaded. Okay? I'm fully persuaded that the Lord, all right, is dealing with the apostles and elders of GMS, all right, the sincere men that follow them. Okay? And you sincere women gonna be covered, man. Okay? But somebody has to be the spiritual adults, man. The Lord gave us, you know, reliable, okay, consistent spiritual leadership, man. And those men have a good report, okay, in the spirit. So you know they got a good report, you know, in the heavens, man. You know, our brothers are, we all endure. You know, and they always push the, you know, 'cause they don't never push like they have made it. They always push, you know, to fight to the end of the thing. Like they got a saying in the world, you know, run through the tape. You know, whenever you say you sprint, you know, you do track, you know, and you might be in the lead, okay, but your coach will tell you to run through the tape. You know, it don't matter if you're in the lead, you still run through the tape, finish strong. You know, and they always push that sentiment, man. Sentiment. Now let's see. See if we can find it. Run through the tape meaning. Okay. It says run through the tape means to finish something strong, giving maximum effort until the very end rather than slowing down or coasting. Okay. Run through the tape means to finish something strong, giving maximum effort until the very end rather than slowing down or coasting, man. And like I say, they've been examples of that. You know, these men have embodied, you know, what they've been teaching us, man. You know, they've embodied that. Okay. And that's why you see an abundance of edification. Okay, because the standard was set. The Lord, let's go here. Let's get this in the First Corinthians. All right, First Corinthians chapter 11. Okay, in verse 1 it says, "Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Mashiach." Okay, and there's Apostle Paul speaking as he telling the church, look, follow me as I follow Yahushua, man. Okay, and we see the apostles and elders have been set up for us to follow as they follow Yahushua. Okay, and that's order, man. You know, and that's another thing that, all right, a lot of these Jakes got issue with is Israelite male authority, man. You know, Esau and the matriarch did a lot of damage to Israelite men. All right, to Jake, to where they have a major problem with Israelite male authority. Okay, and they got this rebellious nigga woman spirit on them. Okay, that they just want to be a contrarian. Okay, they want to be contrary to everything. And you see, and the Lord not dealing with that, man. The Lord is raising up men. That's another thing too, man. The Lord is raising up men. Okay, we were maturing in this thing now, man. That's why that little shit that these niggas own, man. It's like, okay, we address for doctrine's sake, man, but trying to keep up with all this shit them niggas got going on. It's little kid shit, man. 4-hour live screen, the gossip and show text messages, man. Hey, nobody got time to do all this shit, man. I wasn't even on that shit in the world, man. You know, how much more is we mature in the truth, you know? I don't want to know everybody. You got some men got that nigga woman spirit that they just got to know everybody business, man. You know, they got to know everything that's going on, man. Okay, I want to know what I need to know to fulfill my life, man. Okay, I don't, man. We. Then look where we at. Let's get this precept. You know, let's get this, and then we'll expound on it, man. All right, I believe that's 1 Corinthians 13. Okay, and 11. It says, "When I was a child, I spake as a child, understood as a child. I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things." And let's read this in NLT. It says, "When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I did away with childish things," man. You know, and that's childish, man. Sit there and gossip and save text. And then, you know, like Jake on this shit where they be saving all your text messages you send them. They be recording y'all conversations just so they can have, you know, receipts. And then I got receipts, you know, on nigga shit, man. Okay, we got certain receipts when it comes to what men have said according to the doctrine. Okay, because Jacob try to act like they never said particular things and be lying when it comes to the doctrine. But trying to, you know, if I got to record your conversation, if I feel like I got to save your text message, we don't need to be associated. Okay, I don't have time to do all this shit, man. You know, they're childish, man. Okay, what these niggas is on is extremely childish, man. And that's what drive Jake, man. It's this gossip shit. That's why Jake can do a 4 hour. Jake can do a 4 hour gossip live stream every day. Okay, and it will be he will have an audience of niggas that just love to hear that. Simple women that just love to hear that shit, man. We're maturing past that, man. We matured way past that, man. You know, we're gonna address things, man. Well, we got serious matters at hand, man. Esau was setting up a technocracy right before our eyes, man. Okay, ISIS out here, you know, just wilding out here, man. Okay, you still got war drones beating. Okay, you still got all type of things. You know, something drastic can happen any day, and take this thing to another level, man. Then it's gonna be about who's rooted in Yahweh Shah, man. Okay, and none of that shit that them niggas is on, man. Niggas, you know, and these niggas had to take the bag. All right, niggas that got to the finish line. Okay, and Esau, hey, called in that favor, man. Okay, Esau made them niggas show their hand. You see, and we got the real and see you brothers, you sisters, you just not coming in. All right, it's been a lot going on, man. So you need to be tapped in and really be praying about the Lord leading you to truth, man. Pray for the Lord to lead you to truth, man. If you're coming in and there's a lot going on, and pray to the Lord that lead you to truth. Okay, that's what you know. That's what I did. It was because it wasn't as saturated as it is now, but it was different camps, you know. And you know, you can hear this and hear that, and it's like, damn, you know, because you come in and you just excited to hear about everything Israel, then you find out it's a major difference. Okay, and the difference is so blatant now. The Lord's making it easy, man. Look at the scandal these guys getting caught with. Okay, look at what they're trying to teach now, which that completely defeats the whole purpose of awakening to the truth. Okay, because if you saying everybody can make it, so just a random Moabite, okay, that just start growing his beard, okay, he put the squid down, you know, for 2 weeks and he on the chariot. Okay, and what they're teaching, that takes away, all right, the value of being an Israelite. It takes away, okay, of being the chosen people, which that's another topic, man. You know, Lord will we'll get to that. You know, Lord will we get to that. But yeah, man, here it is. We in the clutch, and this is what Jake is on. Okay, like I said, the nigga took you to street nigga Israelites. The Crips took you to what's it? Adam 22, no jumper. Okay, you know, got pegged, you broke up. Now you got a Christian doctrine. Okay, so them niggas took you through all them changes to drop you right back off at the Christian church, man. Let you know, all right, who they work for, man. Okay, then you know who they getting their marching orders from, man. You see, but at the end of the day, you know the elect gonna be the elect. You see, the elect gonna be the elect, man, and this is what we're occupied in. All right, those that are like-minded, man. Let's get that. You see, we here for those that are like-minded. This is why, because those that are like-minded, the sincere brothers, the sincere, you know, the few sincere sisters, man, they're here for edification. You know, because I even when I click on the video, I want to be edified. I want, you know, I want to understand a little more of what I'm a part of. Okay, I want to understand my assignment. What's expected of me? What should I be doing? What can I adjustments I can make? How can I get better? You know, so I'm knowing that you sincere brothers, all right, you few sincere sisters, you're watching these videos for the sake of edification, and that's what we're gonna stay occupied on. Okay, is edification, man. All right, we'll address things, but the spirit ain't gonna allow us to get dragged into that soap opera with these niggas, man. Okay, And like brother said, Apostle Har been showing love to Jake for years, man. Over a decade. Okay. So you go to the leadership, even in it, hey, the apostles blameless. Okay. You ain't see Elder Apostle Tahar trying to dig up his personal information and putting private investigators on. Nah, man, they stayed the course, man. They stayed teaching, they stayed feeding the flock. Okay. They stayed being those examples, man. While these niggas have been absolutely wild. All right. And it's getting to the point, you know, you following these men, man, and you're not going to be innocent. Okay? You're following these men. You're not going to be able to play dumb like you didn't know, man. All right? Because it's to the point now, you just like that nigga shit. No matter how nasty them niggas is, no matter how off the doctrine is, you just like that nigga shit. And this thing is a hangout to you, man. You're not going to be innocent. All right? And the Lord God is set up to where you Israelites that ain't right, he raised you up, all right, some prophets, all right, for you niggas, some false prophets for you niggas to cleave to, okay, so for you to be destroyed. You see? Because let's go here. Let's get that in Sirach, yeah. Then we get that in a second, I'll rather side. But let's get that in Sirach 13. All right, this is Sirach 13 and 15. It said, every beast loveth his kind, and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. Okay? A man will cleave to his like. So if you still around that in that fiasco, you like that shit. You into that shit. You can't wait for the next thread of text message to come out. Okay, you can't wait for the next 4-hour live stream exposing all these different stories and accounts. You can't wait for that shit because you like that shit. But if you serious minded about the kingdom, you're here for the edification. You're here for more insight of the kingdom. You're here for character building. You came here to learn a little bit about history, a little bit about prophecy, a little bit about this and prayer, and you know, if you're serious minded about this, man. You know, but everybody is cleaving to their like, okay, and the Lord is making them blame. He's making it plain as you can make it, okay. This is, you shouldn't have, no one should be scratching their head, man. Okay, and understanding the times we in, there's no way, all right, we in the time for what these niggas is on, man. But they're children. It's a bunch of children. Nigga culture is a bunch of children that never grow up. You know, when you look at nigga culture as a whole, which a lot of Israelites are still just niggas and nigga women that know that they Israelites. Okay, they entertain the idea that they Israelites. Okay, well, they're still niggas and nigga women, which are children. Nigga culture is children. Okay, they max out at about 14. Their mind don't really develop, you know. They might be able to articulate, they might got a degree, and they might can put on a presentation, but their mentality, it doesn't go past 13, 14. That's why niggas still be doing the shit that you see some that they was on in junior high school, man. Okay? That's why it's about being popular. That's high school, junior high shit. Okay? When you associate someone's value with how popular they are, the outfits they got on, type of car they drive. That's high school, junior high bullshit, man. Way of thinking. Okay? And that's what nigga culture is, man. It's a big junior high school. Okay? They still try to operate off that same mentality, man. Okay? So going back here, let's read this again. Sirach 13, okay, and 17 or 16, it said all flesh consorteth, okay, according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like, man. You know, so the Lord has it to where the serious minded believers are, they're gonna cleave to each other. All right. And Jake didn't like that mess. And Jake, is into the gimmicks and games. They're going to cleave to them niggas, man. The Lord raised them up someone, all right, to pretend to be a prophet, okay, to pretend to be, some spiritual leader, okay, for the undesirables to flock to them niggas for destruction, man. And look at the time. Here it is. We in the look where we at in prophecy, and this is what Jake is on. Okay, Jake still defending that madness. Okay, hey, have at it, man. You niggas have at it, man. Okay, we're not losing no sleep behind you niggas. Okay, following clowns. Okay, and you still have, all these, these comments and opinions, and well, see how I feel about them type niggas, man. Second Ezra chapter 8 and in verse 50 it says, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." Okay, and Jake has walked, okay, in great pride. From 2/3 that don't know they're Israelites to men that know that they're Israelites, man, which they become more proud because now they think they own something. Then they feel like they owe something. Okay, so it's a lot of pride in Israel, and like I said, this guy Alazar, he was out of there. He ain't smiled in a while. Okay, but now he's being revived by gossip, man. Okay, and this is what Jake is doing, fourth quarter in the clutch. Okay, being occupied in gossip. Okay, so what you're seeing is a people that's proud. You would think with that guy, he would just humble down. Okay, go get yourself together. With nah, man, come back with the same pride. All right, showing you that the Lord, all right, got things in play for Jake, man. Like he really gonna bust shit up. You see, niggas are not gonna be happy until the Lord really, all right, start wrecking shit. You see, because see, this society accepts lewdness, which Lord, where I could put a video together on that, man. I just gotta sit down and do some editing. But this world accepts lewdness such, okay, that hit that behavior. This show you how jacked up the world is. That behavior, he should be banished. He shouldn't have an opinion about nothing. But that behavior is so acceptable amongst niggas, because you can do anything amongst niggas now. Okay, there's no barriers. Niggas are just complete beasts. There's no barriers with Jake. Okay, so you can do and say and be any type of way, okay, amongst niggas, man. Okay, and still be all right, reverence. Okay, so their pride is still there, man. The Lord, all right, gonna start wrecking shit. You see, and that's what's gonna really start, all right, shaking this thing. The Lord finna really break this shit up. It's only so long they got, and that's what we speak about being in the spirit. You guys see what the spirit is doing, man. Okay, the spirit is rounding these undesirables up, man, and they flocking, okay, to this goddamn folly. Okay, because if you here for folly, man, you can't resist this. I think the scriptures even say, I'm gonna find it. Second Ezra 8 and 50 said, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they walked in great pride. But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee," man. And this is why we emphasize on edification, man, on prophecy, man. Okay, on understanding, breaking these things down, man. Okay, bringing out the understanding. Okay, we're going to emphasize on it because you have like-minded, men that are into that. Okay, that the Lord, as Yahushua said, will feed his sheep. Okay, we're gonna keep the main thing. Okay, and just say us being a celebrity won't benefit you. Okay, us pushing edification, okay, that's beneficial. Okay, us being looked at as in some sort of light, and us having these glamorous lifestyles, and us being rubbing shoulders and here and there and popular, that don't benefit the church, man. The church benefits off edification, man. Okay, off faith boosters, off understanding, off wisdom, learning how to live. We still learning how to live, man. Okay. We need that, just like Elder Apostle Gabar's video, that daily edification, exhortation, man. We need that. Okay. You see, going back, the daily bread. All right. Let me see. And then I believe there's a book of Job. I'm gonna get that in. I think there's a book of St. John 4, and let's see. All right, this is the book of St. John, chapter 4. All right, and start at 31. It says, in the meanwhile, his disciples prayed him, saying, Master, eat. But he said unto them, I have meat to eat that you know not of. Therefore said the disciples one to another, have any man brought him aught to eat? Yahushua said unto them, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me and finish his work. Okay? So our meat, our priority, because, like we talk about, daily, edification, all right, which we're feeding the church of Yahushua, as we're being fed Yahushua, where we're breaking bread with the church and feeding them Yahushua. Okay? And that's more vital than anything. Of course, we gotta, you can't stop eating, indefinitely. Okay? It just shows you the emphasis on how vital this is, because you can only go so long without eating. Okay? Well, it's more crucial that we don't go a time without this word. Okay? Because being in this word, we're going to be provided for, and we understand, as the scriptures say, you don't work, you go to work, you're going to eat, it's simple. Okay? The concept of going back, we adults, we should be able to, make a day's wage and get something to eat, whatever our situation is. But it just shows you the emphasis on this ministry, man. Okay, and feeding the church with sound doctrine, man. Okay, with those spiritual nutrients, man. And this is what we're here for, man. And it's all leading to a kingdom. It's all leading to all of us being good. You see, we should have a mindset on the victory, man. Okay. And if we're seeing these prophecies happening, man, we got to believe on the victory, and we push this word and we teach, man, because we're pushing to a victory, man. Pushing ourselves, pushing the church, the true believers, to a victory in Yahweh, man. Okay, that's why our scriptures say. Let's go here, 1 Corinthians. All right, 1 Corinthians 15 and 57. Yep. It says, but thanks be to the Most High, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. Okay, so be steadfast. Okay, which what? That's the consistency. man. You know, you're steadfast in something should be consistent. Okay? And see, Jake, you know, will say, well, those guys were consistent. Yeah, they was consistently feeding into their ego. All right. Yeah, they knew how to sound deep and they could edify at certain points. Okay. But if you would have took their money away, you think they would have been consistent like that? If you would have took their popularity away, you think they would have been consistent like that? Okay, if these guys was only getting 20, 25 views a video, you think them guys would have been consistent? Okay, they had a lot of fleshly motivation to be consistent in certain things, man. But they were consistently going off, and they consistently showed poor leadership and poor character, man. Okay, because it's a whole 360 thing, man. You gotta be consistent in everything, man. You're gonna be perfect. You're gonna have slip ups. Okay, but if you look at the pattern, it should like Scripture say, it should be a pattern of good works, man. Not just teaching and edifying, but conduct, man. Okay, and it says, we go to steadfast. It goes to be, let's see, get this word. Andreas. All right. It says to be firm. All right. To be immovable. Okay. Let me see. Give us some on the Google. Steadfast, man. Yep. It says, so you go into steadfast. You know, it means resolutely or dutifully. You know, dutifully, firm and unwavering. You know, firm, okay, and unwavering. Okay. So we want to be steadfast in this thing. We want to be firm. We want to be, you know, immovable. Okay. Be consistent, you know, in good works, man. Okay. So as we believe in the victory, we should be steadfast. Always, it says unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not, all right, in vain in the Lord. So we know our labor is not in vain, you know, and then we're laboring. This is a labor of love. Okay, and these guys, they come off with this, you know, this false humility and act like they just so concerned about, you know, the church and the believers, man. Them niggas don't care, man. They're not laboring in love. Look at their behavior shows you that they don't care. Okay, they're just like the parents. They let their children do what they want. Let them smoke the cigarettes and smoke weed with the children, and, you know, give them a car, no curfew, and you like, you know. Yeah, it's fun, it's cool, you see? Well, in the long term, look at the damage you're done. That's not love, okay? So you Israelites been following children, okay, who've been allowing you to be children, you see, in the spirit, and no one ever grew up over them, okay? Nobody is growing up, okay? They're children leading children, okay? And now nobody, 10, 12 years later, 13 years later, and nobody has a clue what they're a part of, man. Okay? But nah, man, we here for a victory, man. We finna win. We finna win. In Yahweh Shai, man. We finna be good, man. The Lord's finna restore righteousness back in the earth, man. You see, we're on to mature things now, man. Okay, winning the debate, that ain't no great achievement. See, that's still childish, man. Going back to junior high, you know, you roast each other. That's all debate is. You just roasting each other and sounding smart. You know, like you used to roast each other in school. Whoever had the clearest jokes and, you know, janks or whatever. Okay, you see, things that don't matter, man. Nah, man, we're watching the earth being translated. Okay, from Esau to Jacob. We're literally watching this through prophecy, man. We're watching the Lord, all right, set his people up for victory, man. Okay, everything that's needed for us, all right, to win is happening, man. For Yahweh Shai to come back, the atmosphere is being set up for Yahweh Shai to come back. Oh, okay, so here it is. We're right here at this victory, man. You know, we got the hour of temptation, okay, which is to try the world. So we got all this right here, okay, and this is what Jake is on. Okay, because Jake is content with this current setup. Jake will be content long as Jake can be popular, have a little money, have a little few little simple women. Jake cool, man. Jake will just sit here and argue for eternity, man. Long as they got a little comfortable situation, okay, in America, man, in this setup, man. Okay, they don't have the mind of victory over the beast, man. Okay, Yahweh Shai establishing the throne of David in the earth, man. That ain't what drive them, man. You know, they not here for that. Okay, they showing you what they're here for, man. Okay. Well, nah, man, we're maturing to we on to mature things, man, in the spirit. Okay, because see if I can find it. That's the thing too, man. The scriptures, you know, they put us on so much, you know, game. All right. Is that 19? It's rock 19. It's like give me a few seconds. I'm gonna find it. You know. Yeah, let's start here. Let's start Sirach 19. Okay. And 5. Yeah, that's the point. It said, whosoever taketh pleasure in wickedness shall be condemned, but he that resisteth pleasure, all right, crowning his life, man. And see, that's another thing as we mature, you know, we've learned to resist pleasure. Okay. The pleasure of this world, you know, because pleasure is not wickedness. It just should be done in moderation and in order. Okay. But being like a child doesn't have a shut off. A child don't say I'm doing too much. Okay, that's why it takes something drastic for a child to get it. You know, because a child, his mind, he doesn't have the capacity, okay, to sit back and analyze like, okay, this I'll be doing too much. You know, or in the midst of doing, I need to fall. You know, I shouldn't say that, I shouldn't do that. Okay. That's how adults think. You see, mature, reasonable adults think like that. And this is what we should be in the spirit. You know, so we understand we're not here just to pleasure ourselves all day, every day, man. Okay? Like I said, we got forever to do everything, and it's gonna be in righteousness, man. And we should be disgusted at this place, man. You know, the things that people call pleasure, man, it begins to disgust us here, man. You know, understanding how it should be and how it is. Okay. So reading on, it says, he that can rule his tongue shall live without strife, and he that hated babbling shall have less evil, man. Okay, in this spirit, like a child. A child just say anything, do anything, repeat everything they hear, no consequences, no, you know, a child. And that's why you see all this madness that they caught up in, all this exposure and all this, you know, and just never ending. You see, the nigga woman in the mix, the nigga woman probably sending threads as we speak. You know, pictures on them videos with them niggas, man, all type of, it's just madness, man. Okay, and you got Jake that just stuck to that shit because that's why they're here. All right, and the Lord want them stuck. The Lord want them in that snare while He's bringing judgment, while He's prepping judgment. He want them niggas caught up in it. Because them niggas might argue about this into the kingdom. This might be an ongoing, you might see a part 86. Okay, some shit, with these niggas, man. And it said, rehearse not unto another that which is told unto thee, and thou shalt fare never the worse, man. Okay? Jake think and that's what these niggas do, man. Niggas just sit around you and just information grab when they, they just watching everything you do. They trying to listen to everything you say just so they can have, some type of leverage or some type of one up. If it ever go bad, and that's the thing too is men. If it's certain men that have fell out this camp, man, and it's plenty of things that we can say that we seen, man, but that ain't damn. It is what it is. The spirit got him out of there. Now let's get to the edification, man. Okay, brothers got plenty of stories that they could have just go out and even you got disagreements and things don't work out amongst men. Hey, it is what it is. Okay, let's I'm gonna go my way, you go your way, and that's it, man. I'm sitting here 3 months, 3 months, just telling your information and your business, man. That ain't, come on, man. But that's that westernized, all right, serpent slash nigga woman BS, man, that these niggas be on. Okay. And it says, whether it be friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives. And if thou canst without offense, reveal them not. For he heard and observed thee, and when the time cometh, he will hate thee. If thou hast heard a word, let it die with thee and be bold. Okay, it would not burst thee, man. Okay, Drake can't, just let things die. Okay, showing you that our forefathers, they want to see the way that niggas are and how we move. Okay, in the ancient world is completely different. See, this is what we're going back to, man. This is why scripture say, remember yourselves, men, not the men of this world. No, the men of the scriptures, man. Okay, our forefathers wasn't on this shit. They didn't get a kick out of just exposing and gossip and and keeping tabs and this and Nah, man, our forefathers, they was men of nobility, man. Okay, I said there wasn't a kick to them, man. They had weightier matters to attend to, man. Okay, well, Jake, Jake hears something. Jake got to go tell the earth. Jake be having, what they call the tea, and Jake just got to go spill it for that moment of clout. Nah, man, if it's about edification, man, okay, particular things. Hey, teach, man, edify. All right. Certain things have to be dressed and brought out for the sake of, the spirit want particular things to be brought out. Okay. But that's not what we don't live for that. If it's meant for something to come out, it's going to come out to, to be an example and to show. Okay. The Lord want particular things to come out. You see, but that spirit of living for that and recording phone calls and screenshot every message is sent and all that, man. If I had to do that, man, look, we don't need to associate, man. If I gotta record you and do all this, too much goddamn work, man. What else are you doing, man? Who But let's go here, man. I say I'm gonna end it. Just want to go into those things. But let's go here, man, because this is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 9. in verse 7, it says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils and dangers, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them, all right, for me from the beginning, you know. So now the elect, you know, is getting ready to be delivered. The Lord is setting the elect up for victory, you know, has us amongst, you know, like-minded believers, growing, building, you know, maturing in this thing, and being prepared for Yahushua, being prepared for, you know, the tribulation, okay, and hopefully, you know, we're worthy, okay. You see, to get on those chairs with Yahushua, man, okay. So that's the point, you know, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to our younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutation to the hopeful elect. Shalom.